Howdy, Gamecock fans. JC Shurburtt, Chief Sports South Carolina, the BigSpur.com, Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Here with you again. Told you I was going to keep doing this after the Christmas break. Kind of an appetizer to keep you, I guess, full of Gamecock stuff, but wanted to keep doing these videos. Transfer portal. I'll do other topics as well. Not just going to pop up with a transfer portal video, recruiting video every now and again. Going to try to make this a weekly thing, along with a lot of other types of new ideas coming down the pipe here at Chief Sports South Carolina. Got a complaint about one of the videos that I was blurry. I tried to correct that a little bit. And I've got a whole new setup, a whole new rig for these videos coming via Amazon here pretty soon. So I'll let you know on that. Hopefully, you're not watching this to see my smiling face and my beard, which needs a trim. Um, and I do need to shave it. I wasn't going to shave it until the Gamecocks lost, and they lost. So I probably do need to get rid of this thing. But anyway, house cleaning aside, the Gamecocks got another transfer portal pickup. And it's a position they've been kind of targeting, the center position. Boaz Stanley, who is from Troy, originally from the state of Georgia, Oconee County High School over near Athens and the lake and all that. Zach Mettenberger went there. If you're looking for somebody that's been in a lot of good players have come out of Oconee County in the state of Georgia through the years, Northeast Georgia. This is a guy that's kind of been well traveled. He went to Georgia military. He was at Stephen F. Austin and got injured. Started, I think, five of the first six games. I know, actually, don't think I know. Five of the first six games at Troy this year at offensive tackle, then moved to center and started the last six games. The Gamecocks were targeting uh, three offensive linemen. Is it surprising to me they went with three and not two? Probably, but they got the space, and we've discussed the numbers situation up there. You want to carry 15. But this guy, they definitely wanted a center because if you look behind Vershawn Lee, there was Ryan Brubaker. I think the third team center was Torricelli Simpkins. I don't know that for sure. So you would have to move someone into that spot to compete with Brubaker or to take the job. I'm not going to sit there with a guy that's been through it. Ryan Brubaker has been through and been here 4 years and say he's not going to win it because he could. He's sticking with it and obviously will compete as everybody else will for the job. But if you want a solution at center or a solution as far as having competition there without moving someone and you want to help your numbers, this is a perfect guy to get. I actually like him a little better than the Gadis kid from Michigan that they were after that went somewhere else. I think he went to Missouri. And really better than the guy from Texas San Antonio they brought in over the weekend. I think this guy's playing his best football right now, Boaz Stanley. According to PFF, he did not give up a sack. It was either a sack or only gave up two or only got beat a couple of times. I mean, so for what they see, and PFF is not the Bible of football, there's some things that coaches disagree with that I disagreed with. There's some things I agree with. Sometimes I'm like, what the hell are they watching? Sometimes I'm like, well, that makes a lot of sense. It's a hard job, evaluating every single player in the country almost every week. And so I get it. I totally get it. And I'm not coming down on them. I love to use them as a reference. But according to PFF, he graded out really high. I think we all know Troy has good football players. It's a winning program with a great tradition. This is an older guy, even though he has 2 years of eligibility left right now. Who knows what'll happen with the junior college situation in the NCAA. But you kind of look around and all three offensive linemen have multiple years. They're not 1 year rentals like a Torricelli Simpkins or Kamar Bell. I don't have a problem with those guys being 1 year rentals. I mean, those guys started the whole season and South Carolina won 9 games and at times could run the football and protect the passer. I'll say at times. I mean, that's fair. They were way too inconsistent as a unit. But Torricelli Simpkins is probably getting drafted. And then Kamar Bell hung in there and played pretty good at left guard at times. And then you lose Vershawn Lee, too, who's been there a long time. I said today on 107.5 The Game that he's probably about to go to his 10-year high school reunion. And Vershawn's a great individual, wing eating champion, for back when we had Carolina Rise. Lost to Ja'Kai Moore this year in the wing championship, but he's going to be missed. Leader of the football team, played a ton of football for the Gamecocks. So when you're replacing guys like Lee or guys that are going to play in the NFL like Simpkins, you want to kind of have a full chamber, of bullets, so to speak, to use an analogy. Don't those of you that don't like guns, don't kill me for that. No pun intended. It's just it's an analogy. Just chill, people. And I know that's only a few of you, but don't think I was getting political there. But this guy, along with Newsome from Western Kentucky that they got, and Nick Sharp from Wake Forest, they're going to come in and compete. And I think they do all have multiple years. So that's really going to help. I think it may be more than 2 years if, like I said, this NCAA JUCO thing comes to a head and is favorable as far as all junior college players. You look at the numbers now, I think it's safe to say that unless a franchise type offensive tackle comes online and wants to come to South Carolina for less than however much a franchise offensive tackle is making in college football these days, they're done on the offensive line. This brings their numbers up. And I look at it and I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged by this group. But let's talk big picture here. Let's talk about the offensive line. First and foremost, I say this all the time. It's never going to be perfect up there. And if you don't believe J.C. Shurburtt, ask Urban Meyer. Go on social media, find his podcast. Urban does have a podcast, and regardless of what you think about him on a personal level, the guy knows football well and knows recruiting and knows all that. And he made a good point. He said, everybody in the country is wanting offensive linemen. They're hard to find now. He said it used to be they were all over the place. He's like, now, with skill camps and the emphasis on skill and your better athletes, of course, especially in the South, playing on defense, it's hard. And this was when Ohio State was struggling up front, the mighty Buckeyes. And he said everybody in the country is struggling on the offensive line. So let's just get that out of the way. It's never going to be perfect up front. And I didn't think the offensive line, besides bafflingly failing to get a push in the run game at times against Illinois, and I don't know what all went into that, but I thought they pass blocked pretty well. I mean, Illinois did get pressure at times, but I don't know if that was all on the O-line or not. But let's just be real. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be, where South Carolina lines up like Nebraska in 1995 and bulldozes people up front. But guess what? It's not going to be that way at Texas A&M or Texas or Georgia or Alabama or Florida and I say that because the Gators are probably going to be pretty good next year. Name your school. Ole Miss. It's never going to be like that. Ever. I mean, you are fortunate if you can go put an offensive line on the field in this league that doesn't get overwhelmed. Now, did the Gamecocks get overwhelmed at times up front last year? Absolutely. Absolutely. Did it cause them to lose games necessarily where you go, man, if they just had a better line, they would have won? Who knows? Who knows? But the games they lost were very, very close, except for Ole Miss. And I didn't necessarily think not being able to block was an issue in that one. It was a kind of a let's move the ball between the tens and fail, kind of like Illinois, if we're being honest. And ironically, those two teams played similarly to each other. So it's never going to be perfect. But what you want to do is put a group on the field that's tough, that likes to play physical, that knows what they're doing schematically, knows who to block. At center, you want a guy that can call the protection and help the quarterback and help everybody else and be a communicator. And you want to go to battle. You're not going to win if a game is a war. Y'all are going to think I'm violent today. First a gun analogy, now a war analogy. But anyway, if you're going to go to war, there's a series of battles. You're not going to win every battle. But what you want to do is win enough to win the war. And I think that getting these guys in, these older guys, to compete with a talented group that South Carolina has on campus probably helps. They say, hey, I'll use a sword analogy now. Iron sharpens iron, or sword, crowbar, whatever. I say crowbar because I've been watching Tulsa King, a really good show on Paramount Plus with Sly Stallone. It's a really good gangster kind of deal, mafia. And they use crowbars, of course. No, another violence analogy. Man, I woke up this morning and chose violence. Anyway, so you want to have a group that can go out there and compete. And I think the more numbers you have, you insulate yourself, of course, from injury, which we all went through a couple of years ago and all that. All that said, I'm not going to say I'm going to be disappointed because I'm not at practice. And obviously, the group that plays the best at practice is the group that's going to start. That I know. But if would it be a fair, not point of criticism necessarily, but a slight red flag if all three new guys are starting just like this past year? I think so. That's only because of the amount of confidence and I guess admiration, evaluation point points about Trovon Ball, Big Tree, and then Marquis Anderson, who's been kind of a mystery as to why he hasn't played very well, and also guys like Blake Franks and Cam Pringle who are going into their second year. I'm not saying it would be a concern because winning's the most important thing and putting your best team on the field is the most important thing. But it's time for some of these guys that are going into their third year to get out there and be starters, and they've got talent. And we've seen it in games. Well, Trevon Ball, when he got in, played really, really well this year. I'm glad they were able to redshirt Tree Babalade. But when he got in and filling in, very tough job filling in at left tackle for Josiah Thompson, he played really well. Is he going to slide inside? That's my other question because you got three interior coming in from the portal. No tackle unless like I said, they come up with one. So is that something that's on the table again? All these questions are going to be answered throughout spring practice. So I like the pickup. Can't say I was completely aware of it. I know Shane Beamer has a lot of connections to Northeast Georgia. He recruited there when he was assistant at South Carolina. So all up and down the 85 corridor, which is where Oconee County is. It's near Athens, really. And of course, he was in Athens. I think his dad has a lake house in Lake Oconee. So Shane Beamer is very familiar with the high schools and all that stuff in that part of Georgia. And so, he vetted this guy. Like I said, older guy, he's got a fiance, according to his Instagram, getting married, becoming an adult. And guys like this play pretty well in college football, because a lot of times you're going up against an 18-year-old, even if he's a five-star defensive tackle. And it's not necessarily man against boys. I think it's probably man against man boy. That youth, even though that guy's probably big and athletic and all that good stuff, sometimes that plays a factor, especially in the SEC. So I like this pickup. Like I said, I think South Carolina's probably done on the offensive line in the portal, barring a tackle acquisition. And it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out in the spring. Lonnie Teasley and Greg Atkins and Sam Searby and all the guys that help with the offensive line, the trenches, quote unquote, hashtag. They're going to have some decisions to make, along with Mike Shula, the offensive coordinator, and to see who are the best five to go out and protect Lenora Sellers in 2025. But I think as far as needs go, South Carolina absolutely met its needs. They're basically bringing in five guys with multiple years of eligibility left. That's what you want to shoot for, whether that's freshmen, whether that's older guys. And like Darren Usher said when he was on the show with us, Carolina's director of player personnel, it's going to be a blend. It says you want competition and you want as many numbers as possible. With as far as the big uglies, it is a line of scrimmage league. We all know that. In the SEC. And of course, Clemson pays attention to their lines of scrimmage as well. They're on the schedule every season. So does Virginia Tech, who is on the schedule next year. So it's important, folks. It's important to boost your numbers up front. All right. There we go. That's the Boaz Stanley update. I believe the 8th transfer portal commit for South Carolina in the 2025 class. Be sure to check out thebigspur.com. Inside the Gamecocks, the show. We're back. I'm recording this Tuesday, January 7th at around 10, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So in about 49 minutes, my happy butt will be on there with JB, Phil, Alex Jones talking away. Download the Chief Sports app for all of that, and check all of us out on social media. If you hadn't hit that subscribe button here on YouTube, be sure to do it. I get the numbers, and about 60% of our audience never hits the subscribe button. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, but it sure helps us. Thanks, folks. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful 2025 so far. JC Shurburtt, I'll be back soon. See you later.